Let's have a look at our example. The information below appeared in the books of Mashamba Fernando for the week ended 8 February 2019. Mashamba Fernando had 2 employees. The one is B Roots and the other one is T Nels. B Roots worked 47 hours and T Nels worked 44 hours. The normal time rate for B Roots is $30 per hour and the normal time rate for T Nels is $35 per hour. Normal hours per week are 40 hours and overtime is paid at double the normal rate. The deductions are as follows. Income tax, that is pay as you earn, is 20% of the gross wages. Social Security contribution is $60 per employee. Pension fund to Helen Namibia is 5% of the normal wages. All employees are affiliated to Forefront Union and make a union subscription of $20 each month. In addition, their employer Mashamba Fernando makes the following additional contributions for them. A contribution of $100 per employee for Social Security, an equal amount of contribution towards the pension fund of each employee. So now what's required is to complete the wages journal of Mashamba Fernando for the week ending 8 February 2019. Now the first thing we need to do is calculate the normal wages for our 2 employees. B Roots worked his 40 hours and his normal time rate is $30 per hour. If we multiply that, we will get 1,200. T Nels also worked 4 hours and his rate is $35 per hour. If we multiply those two together, we will get $1,400. Now let's go ahead and add that in our wages journal. There we go. Now let's calculate our overtime. Now the total hours that B Roots worked was 47 hours. Now to calculate our overtime, we first need to subtract our normal time hours, which is 40 hours. So we are left with 7 hours overtime. And we multiply that with the overtime rate. And remember, our overtime rate is paid at double the normal time rate. So we take 30 times 2, that will give us $60 per hour. If we multiply those two, then we'll get $420 for overtime. Let's move on to T Nels. T Nels worked 44 hours, and if we subtract the normal time hours, we will get 4 hours. The normal time rate is $35 per hour. If we multiply that with 2, we will get $70 per hour. And if we multiply 70 by 4 hours, we will get $280. Let's go ahead and enter that in our wages journal. There we go. So now let's calculate our gross wages by adding up our normal time wages plus our overtime wages. We will get our gross wages. Now that we have calculated our gross wages, we can move on to our deductions. Our first deduction is pay as you earn, and pay as you earn is 20% of our gross wages. So the gross wages for B Roots is 1,620. If you multiply that with 20%, we will get $324. The gross wages for T Nels is 1,680. If you take that multiplied by 20%, we will get $336. Let's go ahead and enter that in our pay as you earn column. There we go. Before we go to our pension fund, let's do our Social Security first, because that one is straightforward. Social Security is $60 per employee. So let's go ahead and enter that in. There we go. Now let's move on to our pension fund. Our pension fund is calculated at 5% of normal wages. So the normal wages for B Roots is 1,200 multiplied by 5%, we will get $60. And the normal wages for T Nels is 1,400. If you multiply that with 5%, we will get $70. Let's go ahead and enter that in our wages journal. There we go. Our last deduction is for our trade union, and this one is also straightforward. Each employee pays $20 per month to the trade union, so we can go ahead and enter those amounts. There we are. Now we need to calculate our total deductions. We do that by adding up all our deductions. So the total deductions for B roots is 464, and for TNLs it's 486. To calculate our net wages for B roots, we take the 1620 less our 464 to get 1156. We do the same for TNLs. We take the gross wages less the total deductions, and that will give us 1194. Now we add up our amounts to get a total for each amount. We have a total for normal time wages, overtime wages, gross wages, all the deductions, and so forth. Now it's time to add our employer's contribution. And our employer made a commitment to contribute towards our pension fund and our social security. Now let's go ahead and calculate our employer's contribution. Now the commitment to the social security was $100 per employee. So we take 100 times 2, that will give us $200. And in regards to the pension fund, the employer will match the contribution from each employee. B roots contributed 60 and TNLs contributed 70, so the employer's contribution will be 130. Let's go enter that in our wages journal. There we go. If we add up those two amounts, we will get $330. And lastly, we add up all of the amounts after we have entered our employer's contribution. There we go. Hopefully now you will have a better understanding of how to complete a wages journal.